much as there is a science, there is an art to it. We're immersed in nature, we're working with nature, not against it. It's this beautiful system. A lot of the thing is education. People don't know that the stuff they're eating is either poison or medicine.
So you're pretty much just a one-man show, right?
I'm a one-man show, man. With our animals, we don't do any antibiotics, no hormones, no vaccines. Even certified organic allows vaccines. I have nothing to hide. This breed of cattle is, to me, I don't know why you'd have any other breed.
Do they ever get grain?
They will never get grain.
Never.
Never. I'll put our chicken against any conventional farm out there. Almost all of our customers come to us and the number one thing they say is, I don't trust what's in the grocery store. They have lost faith in the big industrial ag, that beast that exists out there.
Okay, morning. We're here with Adam at Heel Farms.
Yeah.
We're up early, got me out here.
Got you out early.
6 a.m.
Before the sun came up.
Is this typical life?
Yeah, this is typical life, yeah. You feel like it's a better accomplished day when you get out before the sun's up.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So we're here at Heel Farms, you're the owner here?
Yes, I'm the owner of Heel Farms, yeah. So we're a pasture-raised operation. We do pasture-raised, organic fed, chicken, turkey, eggs, pork, beef, and honey. So everything we do is centered around managing animals in the way that is most beneficial for the soil, and in return we get the healthiest plants, which is the healthiest animals.
Of course.
Because they're consuming that. So.
And we're right outside of Pittsburgh, maybe 45 minutes?
Yeah, about 45 minutes from Pittsburgh, yeah.
All right, well we're jumping on this and just show me around. What are you getting started here with?
Yeah, so I'm picking up this polywire. So there's 9 strands of very thin metal wire that's ran through this polywire, but you have up to a 1/4 mile of a very light, portable way of containing the animals, all with these stepping posts and this reel. And what that allows us to do is move the animals and isolate them into specific areas that then we can manage based on what we want to get accomplished.
So the field doesn't always have the same shape, essentially?
It does not, yeah. So you'll see we have a perimeter fence, and then we have like a paddock division, that smaller fence. That is basically our source of containment, and allows us to transfer electricity, and we get to pass that through here to contain the animals in a specific area.
And this is pretty traditional with farming?
Most farmers don't want to manage in this style. It's a lot more labor intensive, okay? And
because you're out here every day.
You're out here every single day. The typical practice is that farmers will come, they have their field, they see, oh, it's green with vegetation, and they let the cows out. When it's down to the dirt, then they say, oh, time to move the cows. Well, we don't want that. We want constant vegetative growth, and the best way to manage the plants is by grazing it and then allowing it to rest. And so if we don't give the pasture time to rest, what you end up doing is the cows go after and select the most palatable plants that they can find, the tender plants, typically the grasses, okay? And they take those down basically to the ground. What that does then is gives the advantage to the plants that are not being grazed, which then is your weeds, okay? And so now the advantage goes to those weeds, which then ultimately sends you down this spiral of producing a pasture that is unproductive. So if you look at here, like this is a perfect example.
And this is all tying into soil health.
Absolutely, yes. So this right here, you can see this grass. Now, if we take this all the way down here, that's where the soil is. You can see it's about half of it taken off. So because we came in here, we just tipped off the half of it. Now, if you look at these species, like this, the cows aren't gonna eat this. This is ragweed, okay? But this now got hit, and what it does when grass gets clipped, it immediately stimulates down to the roots and starts producing more growth. So we are only, this was yesterday, and you could already start to see, you know, the new shoots coming up.
So you're okay with having a little bit of weeds in there mixed with the grass?
Yeah, and a reason for that is, I mean, you could see like they did kind of come and nip this. They'll come and try and taste it, but by doing that, now that grass actually is stimulated to where it will outcompete the weeds. What it also does and how we, you know, contain them, if we let them, like I said, if we let them in here and, you know, 4 or 5 days they were just in here grazing, they're gonna take that grass all the way down to, I've seen, or, you know, it's really sad. Some farmers just let it go down all the way. I mean, you're talking less than an inch. Plants require leaf material to regrow, okay? Remember, they make their own food, okay? Plants photosynthesize using water, sunlight, and carbon, and take that to produce sugar that ultimately they use to grow.
How much of your day is spent moving these fences? And is this...
It's really not that much work.
Not much
You'll
work.
see, like what you're gonna see today, 15, 20 minutes max.
Okay. So even though this would be considered labor intensive, it doesn't take up too much of your time.
It doesn't.
So it becomes easier in the long run.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. And now listen, we have, I invested a lot into fencing and water. And so that does make it very simple. If you didn't have the water, that would make it very difficult. And you asked, do I put it in the same spot every day? No. And that's what's really great too. So as soon as you have permanent, I want you to see, look at that fence line. What do you see there? You see weeds, right? It's because there's a permanent system there that it's actually starting to degrade. So anytime you have something that's permanent, you start to degrade. When you have that permanent system, there's less trampling. So even with this, like there'll be weeds in here, by having them in there, they'll actually trample and bust up, you know, creating an injury to the weeds, the plants that they are not eating. And so that also gives the advantage to the grasses. We're mimicking nature. We look at the wildebeest and, you know, for a North American example, the bison, right? So typically the bison were getting moved along because there were mountain lions and there were wolves, okay, pushing them. And so herbivores need to be managed by predators so that way the grasses don't suffer. If you let the bison sit there and had no predators, they would take that down and you would destroy that area. But because of that constant movement with predators, you actually have the most beneficial management system for those grass species. And so we're doing the same thing now. We can't bring in wolves and mountain lions into here. So what we're using is the containment area of the polywire to move them in mimicking that same behavior. So
very interesting.
Yeah.
So much more complex than just a field.
It really is, yeah. And I would say that this is both, you know, that my background is in science, a plant science major, but
I can tell.
yeah, but this is as much as there is a science, there is an art to this. You know, it takes a trained eye to figure out, okay, how much vegetation's out in the field. And how much do I give them each day based on how many animals I have? Each animal
are you strategizing then, back in your house at night? Or?
It's been the years of experience of just like looking at an area and be like, okay, that's pretty good. Some days you give them a little more vegetation, some days a little less, and it's
trial and error.
Yeah, trial and error, and over the years, you know, you can get pretty close with that. But
are you certified organic?
We are not certified organic. Everything we do is to certified organic standards. Almost everything goes way and above and beyond that. We don't do any synthetics anywhere on our property. And then with our animals, we don't do any antibiotics, no hormones, no vaccines. Even certified organic allows vaccines. We don't do that.
Yeah, it seems to be a recurring theme. Like there's a lot of farms that are following all the organic standards, but not certified organic because it doesn't make a lot of sense for what they're doing.
It does not. Well, and one of the things I say is this, that you go through this platform of going USDA certified organic and pay all these fees, fill out this paperwork, and then you have an agent that comes out and monitors and checks that you're doing what you're supposed to do. Well, one of the things is that you need to fill out paperwork saying, yes, I have not sprayed these chemicals on my field. Well, they're not going out and taking testing and sampling. They're not doing that. They're relying on the accuracy and honesty of you putting paperwork, giving to them, so then you can use their branding of the stamp of certified organic. Ultimately, the trust still lies on me to be honest and transparent with what I'm doing. So we'll just cut the government out of that. And I go directly to my customers saying, listen, trust me, trust my character, judge me and see if I'm actually an honest person, okay? Because that's when it ultimately comes down to. You can have the government get involved and saying, yes, you're certified organic, but who's monitoring them at 2 a.m. if they want to go out and spray 2,4-D into their field, And so we'll just cut the middleman out, and we're just a relationship directly between our customers.
So it's all about just building strong relationships and the trust with your people.
And so that's why we, like I said, they don't care if the animal's out on the most optimal pasture grass system, or you could have a giant dirt lot. It's the same thing at the end of the day. So we just stay away from it.
When did you start here? When did you start your farming journey?
Yeah, so you're gonna take me way back. It goes back honestly to 2010. I was actually in Arizona.
Oh, really?
And so I originally from Southern California. So I was out in Arizona for a job. And
what part?
The entire state. It was a really cool project. So we were looking at power lines, testing vegetative load underneath power lines. So I was in Hopi area, Hopi Reservation, and I saw the level of poverty there, so I had this vision that I was to grow food for people who couldn't grow for themselves. That ultimately led me down a journey. Went to Cal Poly Pomona and got my bachelor's there in plant science. That led me starting a nonprofit organization where I went to Haiti, and we supported an orphanage by building agricultural systems. Instead of just giving them money, we built systems so they can grow food for themselves. And we did that up until 2019. I wanted to move out of California, and so I got out of California, and from then we moved here for a job. Pandemic hit, and of course we got let go on that. And so that was it. I was like done working for people. And so we started Heal Farms in 2020. And the reason why we named it Heal Farms is the nonprofit was named HEAL, which stood for Holistic Environmental Agricultural Learning. And so Heal Farms was created in a way to support the nonprofit, to give to the nonprofit. So a percentage of all of our sales goes to Heal.
So did you have a calling when you were at your job out in Arizona to do this?
God gave me that vision, which is really funny because at the time I didn't know how to grow food. So when I got that vision to grow food for people who couldn't grow it for themselves, it was like, what? I'm a first generation farmer. Parents, they were not farmers at all. We grew up in Southern California, Los Angeles area, and in a pretty rough neighborhood. God created the earth, and it's up to us. I picture us, it's like, we need to steward the land just like Adam and Eve were in the garden, right? It was managing the land and the nature that God created in the way that best reflects to him. Most farms are very degraded, and it's almost a spitting on of nature. And some of it, is ignorance. They don't know. It could be, third, fourth generation. Oh, grandpa always did it like this, and we do it like this. And we're poisoning it, putting, fertilizer, and, utilizing a lot of fossil fuels just to, prop up this synthetic system. And so you can see, yes, I use fossil fuels in running a quad to get around, but for the most part, it's we're immersed in nature. We're working with nature, not against it.
Absolutely.
Making it bow to the knee of us. It's like, it's this beautiful system that if managed correctly, everyone benefits. Start with the soil. So healthy soil produces healthy plants, which healthy plants produce healthy animals. Okay, so this is our mineral bar.
Very important.
For the cows. And it has 16 individual minerals in there. There's everything from sulfur to potassium to boron, magnesium. And so to provide them with the most, well-balanced nutrients, we have to offer them minerals. So based on what the animals are deficient in, is they're eating the forage. They actually have what's called nutritional wisdom. They know what they're deficient in. And so what they do is they come over here, they'll lift this up, smell for that deficiency, consume that mineral. Well, they alleviate the deficiency in their body, and 50% of that mineral goes out the back end, okay, in their manure. Ultimately, that 50% left behind is now eliminating over time the deficiencies that are present in the soil.
So they know?
Yes.
Huh.
Perfect example,
I didn't know
right?
That before.
What, you ever been around a pregnant woman? Okay, what does she do? She's craving. She has these cravings. We have the same thing. We've lost it because all we're eating is processed, highly processed food. So we have the same ability, but we have not exercised it as humans in a long time.
So is this all your cattle here?
Yeah.
And this is all beef cattle?
These are all beef cattle. This is South Pole, P-O-L-L. It is, in my biased opinion, this is the best breed of cattle you could have. So they are a grass genetic animal. They are finished 100% on grass. And you could see they're quite fat right now.
Do they ever get grain?
They will never get grain.
Never?
Never. So
not even to try and move them to a...
Oh, no way. No. They are extremely docile, excellent mothers, and that's why we have them. This breed of cattle is, to me, I don't know why you'd have any other breed. They are really, really amazing. Primarily, these are mostly our cows. We do have some steers. There's Love, my daughter named her. She's always coming up. And this is very non-typical for beef cows, and typically beef cows are the Anguses, and some of them are very hard to manage. Get out of here. All right, so we'll work them up.
So they're easy to manage for you?
Very easy to manage, yes. Come on. Woo! Working with them every day, they're very comfortable with you. They trust you because they know that every single day when you come out, they're getting new forage.
So when you take them to get butchered, what are you looking for? Like, how do you tell on a timeline when?
So, because of in the meat production industry, the biggest bottleneck is processing. Whether that's poultry processing, pork, whatever, or beef. It's all really the bottleneck of the industry. And so there's very few processors, and for us, because we do offer shipping, what we have to have is a USDA stamp. With our current processor, I drive 4 hours to Lancaster, close towards your area, and because this processor, there are some closer ones that are USDA, but these ones, they don't use any nitrates, MSG in like their beef sticks, and so that's super important to us. We don't have any of that in our products, and so, you know, you asked, how do you know when they're finished? They're either finished or they're not. You know, our date is at the end of June, and so
it doesn't really matter what their size is, or how.
No,
oh, interesting.
Because we're doing a large, not too large, but we did 9 this year, so all 9 went. Some of them were like, wish you had another month longer, but you know, we can't be picky with our date.
So that's it for moving them for the day?
That's it, man. If you look on both sides of us, you can't see 3 feet into this. It's unproductive. And so what we did is we took pigs, and pigs, you know, were created with a plow on the front of their face in the form of a nose, and they love to root up plants. They're looking for seeds, grubs, and over the past now 4 years have completely revolutionized this area.
Really?
Yeah. So just past this threshold here was as thick as that was.
No way.
Yeah. And so now what you're seeing is this completely productive area. You know, it's all about timing. It's really essential with management with the pigs, because pigs have the ability to create destruction, okay? And so if we left them in there, that permanence, right? If we left them in there long enough, they would be destructive. And so we don't want to get to that point of destruction. When we first started, it was about 50 acres of pasture, 55 or so. We're up to like in the 60s now because the pigs have...
So they're creating more pasture for you.
Yeah, and I'm not starting up a diesel motor. You know, all we're doing is managing the pigs, growing, you know, essentially growing pork, and the byproduct is we get this forest restoration.
Very unique.
They've been in here for about a month because I want to hit this hard with the pigs, so that way it opens up this whole floor, and you could already see. So look behind you.
Yeah.
That's what it was, and this is what it is now. Now these guys some of them are only like 2 months old. The others are like 3.5. And so we'll come in probably in the fall and winter. We'll gather this up. We'll put big piles. We'll burn all of this, clean that whole floor. Allow now the sunlight can penetrate into here as the pigs root up and turn the soil over. They're actually exposing the seed bank that's trapped in there. And so when we get that fertility from the fire, the ash, you know, and opening up the sunlight, the vegetation will grow to where someday we can probably eventually get cattle in here. Okay, so these are our meat chickens, the meat birds. They get moved every single day. That's what I'm gonna do right now. And again, you'll see the grain. They are omnivores, so they do eat both plants and animals.
You have a lot here. We
do, yeah. There's over 1,000 here.
No way.
And this is our second batch. This will be our final batch for the year. And so having this constant access on pasture really provides them with the most optimal diet that they can have.
So a lot of what you do is trying to optimize and get the most out of each animal, and do the right thing for that.
Yeah, I would say what's their optimal diet, and I think that's our focus, because
you're trying to play into that the same way as like a human should go about it.
Yeah, a human should not be eating McDonald's every day,
Exactly.
you know, and that's kind of that feedlot system. They're just consuming. In a feedlot, it's like, putting a cow on a McDonald's diet. You're gonna, we've seen documentaries where you do that and you're gonna destroy your health. So this is really the optimal diet for them. They have a complete balanced diet by what they're on right now. And so right now we have another reason why we move them every day is we want them off their manure. So they do put down a good amount of manure. And what's amazing for that is that that's feeding the soil system. And in doing that, what you're doing is producing the most incredible forage when it regrows. The regrowth and nutrients that comes off of here is the greenest, darkest vegetation anywhere on the property. You'll see even into like December, where everything's dormant, this will be still green in this area. But you can see like, this was yesterday's, this was the day before, and you'll see that progressive regrowth over the days.
Do you have help, or do you do all this yourself?
I have done it all myself. Up to this year, I did have some help earlier this year. I think from here on, I can do all this. So this only takes me about an hour. Over the years, I've gotten very efficient. I'm always, every year, I'm like, how can I get more and more efficient?
With everything.
With everything, yeah. That's a huge driving force for me. I love efficiency. And so I'm always like evaluating myself and my management practices to be like, well, you know, how can I get, you know, shave off 1 to 2 minutes? That adds up over the time, you know?
So you're pretty much just a one-man show around
I'm a one-man show, man. Yep.
That's impressive.
We have 3 kids, and they're the opposite of efficient. I say it's, you know.
How old are they?
One step forward, 2 steps back with them. They're 7, 5, and 3.
Okay.
Yeah, so the typical life of a chicken that you'd find in the grocery store is a life that's, you know, there's a giant warehouse. There's up to,
it's not,
you can have up to 100,000 birds walk around their own feces. They've never seen the light of day. They're fed 100% grain, and that creates a ton of issues. So when you think of all that manure, what's one thing you think of? You think of the flies, right? So a practice that is used in conventional grown chicken is they will actually put an insecticide in their feed to where when the chickens consume that, they poop out manure that is poisoned. So that way the fly comes in, lays its eggs on there, the larva hatch, starts eating it, it kills the larva, eliminating the fly process. Chickens shouldn't eat insecticide. So this, like, you know, it's that's, you know, that thing, right? Man's always trying to like make nature bend to its will. It's like, they're missing the whole point. This is the diet of a chicken. If you look at any wild bird, where are they at? They're out in the grasses. Okay, that's where their main diet, what a main diet should look for a chicken.
When you get these processed, like in the grocery store, you'll see like up to 5% water retention. How are your birds processed?
Yeah, so they're processed at a USDA facility in Ohio, and there is none of that. So I was actually at a farmer's market, telling, you know, a new person came up and telling them what we do, and the wife starts laughing and like giggling a little bit, and I'm like, what? She's like, she points to her husband. She goes, he works for Tyson. And I'm like, oh, it's like, well, we're not the same product at all. And he goes, I said, well, I'll guarantee you, you know, our product is way more tender and flavorful than yours. He goes, oh, no, I'll guarantee you it's not. And I'm like, well, why is that? And he goes, we take the chickens, and what they do is they put them in a giant drum. They vacuum all the air out, so much so that it sucks out all of the air pockets in the breast, the chicken breast. Then they pump in sodium phosphate, which then basically injects that into their breasts, those empty air pockets that are like ready to, you know, pull air back in there, and it absorbs that sodium phosphate in there. So that's a salt, you know, a synthetic form, and what it does is it tenderizes that meat, and then also provides a preservative, so you can keep it on the shelf for, you know, weeks on end. It's disgusting. So we don't have any of that. But yeah, and I would still, I'll put our chicken against any conventional farm out there. People say, well, you know, their movement is going to make the meat tough. That's actually not true. You're oxygenating the muscle tissue, which tenderizes the meat. Our meat is so tender. Our breasts, our chicken breasts, are so tender that I used to say you can cut it with a fork, because you can just literally cut it with a fork. So I told my wife, I said, bring me a spoon. And so I grabbed a spoon and I can cut it with a spoon. It's that tender. You know, when you go to the grocery store, what is the chicken? You have to have a steak knife and you're chewing on rubber. You know, it's sometimes you need a chainsaw. And it's
even the organic, like air chilled at the grocery store is not the same as this.
Absolutely not. That organic.
Very interesting.
Organic free range, you think,
well, it doesn't really
this
mean
is
much.
Free range, right? No. Free range means they're not in a cage. So your organic free range chicken in the store is guaranteed, like you go to Costco, or guaranteed that it was grown in a giant warehouse, that whole nasty.
You can't find this in the grocery store.
At the end of the day, you don't know what that farmer did.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the key. You know your farmer.
Know your farmer.
Get to know your farmer. That is the most essential.
It's a recurring theme in a lot of my videos.
Yeah. And you know, it's because here, like, I have nothing to hide. Like,
you're being transparent.
Fully transparent. You know, and so these birds, you look at what bird is getting vitamin D synthesis in what they're grown. Nothing. This is, this has sunlight, fresh air. All the things that you would want in your bird, in your chicken, they're getting provided to them.
With a spoon.
Yes, with a spoon, man.
So what's your biggest thing here?
So the main product that we grow the most of is chicken. It's pretty much our bread and butter.
Are you all direct to consumer?
Yes, direct to consumer, yeah. Cut out all the middlemen.
So how did you go about building a customer base in just 5 years?
It's funny because I'm a major operations guy. If you wanted tomorrow, you say pencil me in, give me I want 10,000 birds. I'm your guy. I'll get you 10,000 birds, right? I'm an operations guy, but selling is I think, and this is not just me, but it's one of the most difficult things for farms to do is to sell it.
Well, I've seen too, the farms I've gone around, the people who have business mindset typically are the ones doing a lot better.
Right.
From what I've seen.
I would agree with that. You wear so many hats as a farmer that, you gotta be the farmer, you gotta be a plumber, an electrician, and then you got to be a marketing specialist and a salesperson and IT. We sell directly off our website, and it's I got to be a web designer and IT. It's a lot. The most difficult thing about doing direct retail is that aspect of getting customer bases. Getting a customer base and then selling it to them.
Because you were new to the area 5 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
what was your biggest way of?
I would say that COVID actually really helped us. It's funny. People are like, "When did you start?" I'm like 2020, and they're like, "Whoa!" Right? It's funny that I went into the most risk-adverse business that you can possibly have. That really is one of the lowest profit margins you can have. And I did it in the middle of a pandemic. But I think that the pandemic really helped in a way that we all remember the grocery stores being empty. Mm-hmm. And people started really waking up to saying what's in my food and why is our food system so fragile? And so ultimately that kind of led to, the whole distance thing or whatever, the curbside pickup. It ultimately led us to okay, well, we'll do a pickup here. And so we started an online store, and so people make their purchases online. And then Saturdays now we have an all-day pickup where people just come at their leisure and pick up their order.
But how did you get the word out at first?
A lot of, passing out flyers. We did a couple farmers markets, just passing out, getting the word out. A lot of word of mouth came. That's your strongest
Because we're
bet.
45 minutes from Pittsburgh. town are we in?
This is Apollo.
Apollo.
Yeah.
So are most of your customers from around
I
here?
would say pretty much around here. We do have quite a few Pittsburgh, but a couple of years ago we launched shipping, and that's really helped us go nationwide. Almost all of our customers come to us, and the number one thing they say is, "I don't trust what's in the grocery store." They have lost faith in the big industrial ag, that beast that exists out there.
Oh yeah. Have you seen an uptick just in the last 2 or 3 years with?
Yes,
I feel like that's where the health movement is.
Yes, the whole Maha thing has been incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, that has been.
But even beyond that too, I think there's a lot on social media that you see, and
I think honestly, COVID woke a ton of people up. I think it really. A lot of my customers, like I said, they're like, wait. Before that, the veil was over their eyes, and it's just food. It's just meat, and it's like, well, they're not all the same, And so I think whatever. Definitely the outcome of COVID, I think, produced a lot of mistrust in the agriculture industry, in the food industry, and people started really valuing their health. Either your health went down or went up during COVID.
Yep.
And so, that's to me the silver lining in that whole issue.
So all the animals are mixed in with.
Yeah, they all
amongst the land.
Yeah. So like the meat birds that we were just at, they don't like that tall grass. So the cows are essential to come in, graze that grass to a height that they could, it's hard for a chicken to eat an 18-inch blade of grass, right? But the cows come in, they'll take half of that. Well, now the chicken can peck off and, take down a 4 to 6 inch blade of grass.
So it's all intertwined.
What was that?
It's all intertwined.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you look at nature, like we'll go back to the bison, right? Those bison were in there and the birds followed them. Okay, so they were cleaning up the pests that are left from the impact of all that manure, and they're cleaning those areas up. So it's utilizing every animal's God-given trait and looking at the animal and how they were made to ultimately accentuate that to benefit everything here.
That's a good point, because most people wouldn't think about that if you're just driving past. Like, why do you have all this going on?
Right.
Well, that's why.
Yeah, it's this, like I said, it's this art, this dance. It's really this orchestrated dance of utilizing animals to benefit each other and then ultimately benefiting us.
Because if you just had cows, it would be different than if you had all of this.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, we're feeding them grain. Okay, because we're a production model here, so without grain, they're going to produce a lot less eggs. Okay, and that doesn't make sense for us. And so, the nutrients that's coming from the grain and passing through them now goes into our soil. Ultimately, grass uptaking that, passing through the cows, and it's this beautiful cycle. Okay, of nutrient cycling. They're all
so interesting.
Accentuating different aspects of the nature, the natural system that they all end up benefiting.
So how many eggs will these 300 hens give you per day?
We get,
on average.
Right now we get about 15 dozen a day.
This is like what pasture raised should be.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm assuming those yolks are like bright orange.
Yes, dark, rich orange yolk, yeah.
Now the yolk being yellow or orange versus yellow is determined on not just their feed, but where they are and their roaming, right?
Yeah, so all the carotenoids and lycopenes, that all comes from the plant diet. So if you're getting a chicken that's 100% on grain, you're gonna have a very dull, pale yellow.
Which is most of what you would get at a store.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, and it's 100% grain. Because ours are being, their diet consists of grass and clover, they're extracting all of the those phytonutrients, plant nutrients. They're extracting that and putting that straight into their eggs.
Now, they're not grain, or they're not what's the corn and soy?
So corn and soy is in their diet.
It's in their diet.
Yeah.
Because some people will say, like, well, the best egg that you're supposed to eat is corn and soy free.
Right. Okay. There's a big thing right now on the corn and soy free. I understand the concerns in it. A lot of that comes from wanting to get away from PUFAs, polyunsaturated fats. The thing is, we need omega-6s, okay? That is you need a balance of that, omega-6 to omega-3. Corn and soy is used in their feed, but for like the meat birds, if we were to switch over, you need a protein source that you're going to get from some other place else. So to switch them off of corn and soy diet, you're looking at a 30% increase in cost, and a 30% longer of them to grow and finish. So you start doing that, like, are people going to pay $100 a bird? I don't think so. No. I'm never paying that. And so I think we get too.
Well, you see so much on like social media. You don't know what to believe, and these influencers can be like really convincing with this stuff. My big thing, I think, is like you have to know what your body is best at, like doing your blood work, getting your numbers, figuring things out.
Absolutely.
Seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, and then make your informed decision and go from there.
Because all of our bodies, we have different epigenetics. We all have different backgrounds. Like, shoot, if you're from Asia versus Norway, like your body had adapted, your ancestors adapted completely on a different diet. So where like you may not metabolize that in the most optimal way. So, but yeah, that's a great point. It is individual based. It kind of goes back to the cows, right? That nutritional wisdom. If we get away from processed foods, we'll let our bodies speak to us and tell us what it needs. I think that's the best way to really attack that.
Do you have hope that people will come around and even more will
absolutely
wake up to what's happening and turn to you?
I think
or
so.
Other farmers and like yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, having a trickle down effect of, changing policy, that currently is what's going on, I think is really a lot of the thing is education. People don't know that the stuff they're eating is either poison or medicine, and so I think the more people that know that, will start searching out for that, and we'll be here. So, and you can probably see I love educating people on where their food comes from.
No, you're a ball of knowledge.
Thanks, man.
I've learned a ton today.
Oh, good.
Thank you so much for having me here, and this has been great.
Yeah,
hopefully people will see this and come flocking. So.
Yeah, they can check us out at healfarms.com. Yeah, we do. We ship throughout the country.
So you can get meat in California.
Absolutely.
From Pittsburgh.
Yeah, shipping's expensive, but it's definitely
could be
available.
Worth it.
It could be worth it. Yeah. So.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
And, this is great.
Yeah.